Good evening from Anglia News. First tonight, how our region could be hit by spending cuts in the new political regime. The Conservatives have already pledged to take £6 billion out of the economy this year in a bid to slash spending. So how will that affect us? Well, Neil Bradford reports now on the tough times ahead.
There will be no escape for the next government. They will be forced to make massive cuts to the public sector. It will mean less money is spent on road schemes, major building projects are threatened, coastal defence is cut back, and some say it could mean thousands of jobs will be lost, not just in the public sector, but in the private sector too. Motorists hoping for an end to years of misery on the A11 in Norfolk may have to suffer for even longer. The long-awaited dualling of the A11 linking Norwich to the motorway network will almost certainly be put on the back burner.
I'm a regular traveller to London, so dual carriage in that would really help and speed up the journey time.
The will of the people is very much to have this link through. For them to ignore it now is simple political gambling.
Those who rely on the region's road network to earn a living fear a double whammy. Cuts to infrastructure at the same time as an increase in road taxes and fuel duty.
What we need is to see fuel for commercial vehicles decoupled from the fuel used by motorists in the sense of the taxation side, because if we are taxed differently, we will still pay our fair proportion of tax.
It's not just new road projects that could be shelved. Former Suffolk MP John Gummer, now a climate change consultant, says we may have to abandon elaborate coastal defence projects.
If you look at what was done along the banks of the Blythe, where the local people used sandbags to fill the hole to make sure that there wasn't a breakthrough. The Environment Agency came along and said, well, to do it properly will cost so much money that it's not worth doing at all.
The cuts to public services are likely to go deeper than ever before, with thousands employed by councils, government departments and other publicly funded bodies facing redundancy. Financial expert Professor Michael Shearer from the Essex Business School believes we could all lose out in the long run.
The nature of the businesses here tend to be more service oriented, less manufacturing, more IT, dependent on also the public sector, and I think there could be some serious concerns about very large reductions in public expenditure. They could really hit some of the sectors quite badly.
It's unlikely anything will escape the cuts, but hospitals and schools are likely to be better protected than most. The new government will face some tough challenges, whether it likes them or not. Neil Bradford, Anglia News.
A mother from Suffolk has made an emotional appeal for information 4 years on from the disappearance of her son. Luke Durbin was 19 when he went missing after a night out in Ipswich in May of 2006. Despite an extensive police investigation, he hasn't been seen since. Kate Prout has this report.
The last known movements of Luke Durbin caught on CCTV in Ipswich town centre on the morning of Friday the 12th of May 2006. The pictures show a typical night out for Luke and his friends, and his attempts to get home to Woodbridge in the early hours. He hasn't been seen since, leaving his family in a cruel state of limbo.
I miss coming home and walking in the house and shouting at him to turn his music down. I miss saying, where are the towels that were in the bathroom that are now on his bed? I miss all the lovely things about him. I miss him laughing. I just miss my child.
3 years ago, some of Luke's best friends took part in an Anglia Tonight reconstruction in a bid to jog someone's memories about that night, including his unsuccessful attempt to get a cab home.
I can have a taxi to Hastings, please. My mum will pay for it when I get home.
We're not allowed to do that anymore.
Suffolk police admit despite 4 years of intensive investigation, they are no nearer to knowing what happened to Luke that night.
Clearly there is an answer to this, and somebody watching may know the answer. It's impossible in this day and age for someone to simply disappear. Now, whether it's because we haven't looked in the right place yet, or whether we haven't received that final piece of information that we need, I don't know, but somebody must know what has happened to Luke.
Luke would now be 23 years old. Nikki says all she wants to know is where her son is, so she and her family can grieve properly. Kate Prout, Anglia News.
The department store group Vergo Retail has announced it's to close 9 stores, 6 of them in East Anglia. They include this one in Norwich, as well as Witham, Stowmarket, Colchester, Clacton and Dovercourt. It follows the news the retail group have gone into administration. The shops are expected to shut within the next 4 weeks, making over 300 staff redundant. Administrators say a buyer for the stores will not be ruled out until they finally stop trading. 3 wind farms off our coast have been given the go-ahead to expand in size and produce more power. Plans have been approved to extend the Outer Gabbard sandbank site, which is 19 miles off Suffolk. Meanwhile, 2 existing sites off the Norfolk coast will now generate extra capacity within their designated area. One of the region's most unusual police teams are preparing to go into action this summer. The River Police are going back to the Broads to protect the waterways and wildlife for the 15th year. 7 officers from Norfolk's Police Broads Beat Unit will tackle crime, antisocial behaviour and public order issues during the peak tourist season from now until October. Now, a campaign is being launched to clean up these streets of Essex. The Love Where You Live week will take place next month. Organisers are hoping to persuade schools, businesses and people to help address a problem which ranked 2nd in a recent survey of issues that they say matter to locals. Well, the weather's been pretty rubbish of late. Let's find out what it's like into tomorrow now. Here's Amanda.
The Anglia weather.